My father knew when he bought the house, this particular part of its history, he knew about right from the beginning. And that was that someone had been murdered in the house. My dad was renovating, and there was a coal chute that came in from the outside where they had dumped coal. As scary as that basement is, there was no bad experiences down there for the longest time. And then after Dad found that key, these things started to happen. My father bought the house in 1981. The original fireplaces and mirrors and woodwork is all still in the house, so he was thrilled to get it. I remember him driving by to show us the house, and it was a scary house. Just the way it looks is very scary.
Light and darkness. Its symbolism is ancient, archetypal, and cross-cultural. Our experts say darkness can mean despair, danger, and death. Light is its antidote. It's an image of salvation, safe and warm. Hello, I'm Lawrence Chow. Today in Ghostly Encounters, we meet Sophie Farrell, who says she grew up with two ghosts. One was darkness, and the other light. Sophie says she was frightened just looking at her new home, but she never imagined just how strange and scary it would get.
Every other weekend, we would go visit my dad. We were scared of the house. I was maybe 14 or 15 when he bought it, and my sister was 3 years younger than me. And we were scared of the neighborhood. We were scared of the house. My dad was very slowly renovating. When the lights would go out and it was dark and you just heard the big clock downstairs ticking, it was fairly scary. Pretty soon after he moved in, we started to experience just strange kinds of feelings at night after we'd go to sleep. First time I spent the night there, I was scared to death. We'd be lying in bed and feel someone stroking our hair, just gently, you know? But you could feel somebody over and over. And my sister and I would sort of compare notes about it. We slept in the same bed. And I would say, did somebody touch your hair? And she was like, it felt like somebody was touching my hair. Were you touching my hair? And, you know, so for a while it was sort of suspicious. And then sometimes we'd feel somebody sit down on the bed. You could feel sort of the pressure of somebody's weight move the bed. You'd feel sort of just this motion of the mattress, like someone was sitting there beside you. We would feel the blankets get pulled up on us. You know, like a mother would pull the blankets up on a sleeping child, we would feel these blankets get pulled up on us. So it started off like that. It was very kind of innocent. It was almost like this feeling that we had in the house right from the beginning was not a bad feeling. You sort of knew that there was something there, but it wasn't a scary feeling. Elijah Taylor was a local attorney, and he moved into the house, I believe, in 1875. Was well known for being sort of this wonderful person. He was very, very tall and had a long white beard, and he would walk up and down the street where the house is located, and all the kids would run out and walk with him when they saw him coming down the street. One night we were lying in bed. I was looking over by the window, and there was light coming in from outside, and it was just kind of a bluish light, nighttime light from the moon, and there were shears on the windows, and there was a chair that was sort of up against the window, and then a bookcase, so there was almost a triangle. I thought I saw something sort of standing there in that light. with the lights coming through and hitting different pieces of furniture, and I couldn't really sort of tell, and so I was really, really staring at it. The more I stared, the more I could make out this form. And what was scary was that I found the eyes. You know, if I stared right where they would be, it felt like he was watching us. That was very scary. One night, I was lying in bed and I could see something in the shears. There were shears on this huge window, and I thought I could see like a form there. And what was scary was that I found the eyes. If I stared right where they would be, then I could finally see them. And the more I stared at them, the clearer they became, and the more I could see the figure of this person. I would think that it would be gone, and I'd sort of look back again and find the eyes, and then I could see it. The face was not angry or scary. It was sort of a strange experience. I didn't wake my sister up because I was afraid that it would disappear. That went on for 15 minutes, which I don't know a lot about the experiences of other people with ghosts, but I think that's a long time to see one thing and have it not move. The next day, we were sitting together, and I said, guess who I saw last night? And really, I was almost kind of joking. I started off just, you know, we would sort of jab each other with these little, you know, I said, guess who I saw last night? And she turned around and looked at me, and her eyes all filled up with tears, and she said, Elijah Taylor? And I said, yeah. And I said, where did you see him? Where did you? And she said, he was behind the chair. He was right by the window. And I said, oh, my God. And then we both were crying because once we realized that it was a shared experience. And after that, we knew that it was there, and we agreed that it was not a bad feeling. It was not a bad experience. He was not scary. We didn't get the feeling that he was trying to hurt us or cause any kind of harm, so we weren't afraid of him. My father had a party one night, and we had gone up to bed, and people always were wandering. You know, whenever there were people over, they always escaped the party and went off trying to see what was in the rest of the house. We heard somebody come up the stairs and thought that they were probably looking for a bathroom. And we heard doors opening. And they came to our door, and he tried to open the door. Two teenage girls, people are downstairs drinking, some guys upstairs wandering around. It was a little bit scary. Certainly you're in your nightgown in bed, you don't want somebody coming in. And he didn't let them in. Just that he would reveal himself to us, that he would just be standing watch while we were sleeping, the blankets being pulled up. It was a nice feeling, a fatherly or grandfatherly kind of a feeling. So we weren't scared of him at all. You sort of got the sense that he was very happy about the house being fixed up. I know he had to have loved the house, the work that went into it. It's very personal, kind of a place. When my dad was trying to get the house, he went and found the Taylor family grave and told me this not that long ago, that he went and sat on the grave and said, Mr. Taylor, Elijah, you have to help me. You have to help me get this house back because I want to bring it back. I want to save it, and it's just going to get bulldozed or it's going to get looted, and you know, your dream of this beautiful house will be gone. So he did get the funding for it, and we like to believe that that Elijah played a little part in that. I know that he would have wanted somebody to come back and make a difference in that house and save it. My dad was very slowly renovating, and there was a coal chute that came in from the outside where they had dumped coal. And my father knew when he bought the house, this particular part of its history, he knew about right from the beginning. And that was that someone had been murdered in the house. What I know about it, it was a woman and her boyfriend, and she and her husband lived in the house. And I think he had gone to war, and she took up with somebody else. And when he came back, they killed him. My father knew when he bought the house that someone had been murdered in the house. What I know about it, it was a woman and her boyfriend, and she and her husband lived in the house. He had gone to war, and she took up with somebody else. And when he came back, they killed him and put him in this meat locker. Just a big metal room in the basement. He was dead and then hidden in there. I think she thought that she could just put the key in the lock, turn the lock, hide the key, and say he was killed at war. She hung the body up in there. She didn't get away with it, and when the police came, they couldn't find the key to open it, so they took the door right off and took him out. I think she just thought she could get away with it, just keep that shut, and nobody would ever ask. My dad was renovating, and there was a coal chute that came in from the outside where they had dumped coal. My dad found the key to the meat locker. He tells a great story about it because he said, I found it and thought, what an interesting key. And no one had touched it forever. And he said he went to bed that night and literally sat up in the middle of the night and said, I know what that key opens. And he ran downstairs in the middle of the night and stuck the key in the door, big, huge metal door, and turned it. And it opened. After he found that key, we started to experience something completely different downstairs, mainly in the basement, which is where the laundry was. We didn't spend a whole lot of time down there, but you had to go down there to wash your clothes. It's a huge, old, creepy-looking basement. And of course, the meat locker's down there, and you're going down to try and wash clothes. The washing machine lid has slammed down on me many times. Unless your washer or dryer are broken, there's a massive hinge on it because it's metal, you know. And the washing machine, even with that heavy hinge, has slammed down on my hands so many times, mid-arm. I went through a couple of years where there was always bruises across here from this thing, you know. People are like, what is this going on with you, you know? And you're like, yeah, it's a ghost, and when I try and do laundry, it hurts me. And it wasn't even just me that it did that to. Thank goodness. I don't think it wasn't like, you're evil and I'm going to hurt you. It would hit other people as well. Yeah, there's somebody very angry in the basement. Very angry. I wish he would do some of the laundry while he's down there. Might as well help if he's going to take up space.
Sophie makes light of the situation, but the events in the basement are about to get very serious. Whatever is down there is angry and out to hurt someone. Sophie tells us that it's the key that unlocks a wrathful force in the basement. In the famous fairy tale of Bluebeard, his young wife defies him by using a key to open a forbidden door. She discovers a dungeon full of the decapitated remains of his previous wives and very nearly joins them. Our experts see many similarities with Sophie's story. The key in both stories is the key to knowledge. Bluebeard forbids his wife to use the key that reveals his murders, while the key in Sophie's story reveals the vengeful nature of a murder victim.
There was a person who helped my father do the renovations, and he used to leave smiley faces on the mirror for my daughter. And he came to us one time and asked if we were angry with him. And I said, no, why? And he said, well, there's something written in the mirror. And I said, well, what's written in the mirror? And he said, well, come downstairs. Obviously, it was a heavy message of some sort. It wasn't completely clear. It wasn't exact. The grammar wasn't perfect. He'd be dead, but the message was there. It indicated that it was this person who had been murdered and put into this locker. Naturally, we assumed when things started to happen down in the basement that it was this other person who had been killed in there. As scary as that basement is, there was no bad experiences down there for the longest time. And then after Dad found that key, these things started to happen. The worst thing that happened in the basement was I was down there once doing laundry. The lights went out. As soon as they went out, I was holding this basket and it felt like somebody came behind me and put their arms like this around me so that I couldn't move. That was no Elijah Taylor feeling. That was terrifying. I was out of there. I was just, I cannot deal with anything touching me again. Or, you know, how far can they go? You know, can ghosts really, really hurt you? I mean, knowing that it could touch you was enough for me. You know, I don't know how far that can go. So when I saw that, I ran. Laundry on the ground. And after that, it was intimidating. Like, it was the worst thing to know they were close to be washed because you knew it was going to be a bad experience. You know, everybody tried to have somebody go downstairs with them when it was time to do the laundry. So I would say, I know. Before I went down the stairs, I would start saying, I know you're down here. I'm sorry you're dead. Just let me wash my clothes. But, yeah, I didn't laugh then, though. I was scared. It was scary. We saw Elijah Taylor one more time. We were in the garden helping my dad pull weeds. Saw up in the window, it would have been the same window that we had seen him from the inside. The curtain was pulled back and he was just standing up there. He was just watching us and we were picking weeds. And it felt like he was watching us, bit by bit, making changes, piece by piece. Keep working on this house. This is a good house. It'll take care of you if you take care of it. It took care of me. That was the real feeling that you got from him, that he was very happy that we were there and definitely proud, very proud that we were taking care of it and that it was going to be back the way that it had been in 1872, you know? I hope he's still there. There's so many people in and out of the house now. There's not a whole lot of very quiet moments, you know? You still get a sense that there's something going on in the house, but it's not as right in your face as it has been in the past, you know? You know, you look, something's moved, you go, okay. It's still there, but it's not threatening anymore. It doesn't seem as threatening.
Sophie tells us that in her house, there is light and darkness together within one ghostly world. Like many supernatural stories, the evil resides in the basement and the good on the bright upper level. Our experts say notions of light and dark are very much about one's point of view. A person who sees the world as a bad place and who thinks there is no hope of anything better is someone who has a dark mind. On the other hand, a person who tries to find the good in everything is a person who is of the light. Do dark minds only see dark things? Will a person with a negative attitude see scary ghosts? Sophie tells us that over time, the ghostly activity in the house quieted down and that they are not as frightened as they once were. Has something in the house changed? Or was it the attitudes of the people who lived there?
They talk about negative energies, attracting negative energies. And you have to wonder what all's connected, that if the neighborhood coming back and the house, the more it was renovated, the less there seemed to be that sort of a feeling about it, whether as things have improved, there's less need for that sort of anger. And I know that there's a lot of people that believe that. It's really about the energy. And not only that, but my dad's a lot happier too. He was going through times in his life when he moved in that he was not such a happy camper. If you're going through hard times in your life, you tend to attract that, and maybe now that everybody's having a pretty good time, things are kind of looking up, the area's looking up. My dad's traveling the world, having a good time with his life, and we don't have such a bad feeling there.